It is a great joy and honor to come into your homes and your minds with a message of empowerment and enlightenment. My name is Emmanuel Mensah. I am a co-founder of the Eagle Mentality Group. At Eagle Mentality Group, we teach and propagate information about the power of thought, universal laws and principles, and how that our thoughts and these laws shapes and forms our lives, our reality. The truth and the universal truth that all men and women have to be awakened to is that all human beings create their own realities, good or bad. You may not intentionally get out to create a bad reality, but for the ignorance about the laws of the universe and the laws of your mind, as well-meaning that you may be creating your own realities in a negative way. You're more or less sabotaging your life. And this is the determination to expose ourselves to these laws, such that we'll be deliberate creators. We will create a favorable and a wonderful life conditions that we desire, that befit all human beings, you see. And so today, I'm going to speak to you on beliefs. It's a topic I have been speaking on the past days. And it is very important that we look at this topic from different angles, particularly relating it to Africans. Our main focus is on Africa. How do we understand the concept of beliefs? And how do we actually look at beliefs? And how do we review them? How do you hold on to them even when they are not working for us? You see, these are the questions that we ought to ask ourselves, you see, because a person's life is controlled by your beliefs. If you believe that you are indeed you are. If you believe that you are not, you will not. That is a fact. And so we are looking at these things from the standpoint of why in Africa we do not have our own creations that we are selling to the world. Nothing is coming out of Africa as the creation of not even the government, governments don't create, but individual people, Africans themselves, that have developed ideas, that have developed things to a higher level that are going into the world to save people. Ideas, ideologies, and philosophies coming out of Africa in our current generation that are going into the world to save humanity. Forget about Africans that have traveled to the advanced world and have settled in the systems in the advanced world and are doing well. It is a fact. I know most people will point out to the fact that there are a lot of Africans who have contributed to the invention and the creation of some things in the developed world. Well, that is true. But what we are talking about is the focus, or we're talking about is those of us on the continent. Why is it that when we travel, we are able to do these things, but on our continent, we are not able to do? People with the same qualification, even better, well qualified than those in advanced world that are doing well, are paralyzed, you see. And so this is what we ought to know. This is what we ought to analyze and come to this point and try to figure out the cause of it. And once you know the cause and you change the cause, the effects too will change. You see, as a people, a group of people, inherently or based on our society, how our forefathers established us, our way of life, the African for a long time has lived and believed that things are done for them by God and the lesser gods. These beliefs, these basic or core belief. All human beings held it before, until the point that people in Europe in particular, now we call the Western world, they began to challenge and then look for ways. They became awakened to the fact that God is not doing things for us, but we are doing it for ourselves. We are co-creating with God, or the higher power that you call God, or any power that you are calling to, so that you would do it yourself, you see. And so people started looking at these things from the individual level. Men and women began to accept the truth, the idea that we are gods on earth here. And so when you go to Europe, all the great things that men have done were done by people who took up this mental attitude, and they dragged the whole continent, and now what we call the Western world, to where they are. It got to a point they challenged the rule of the church, the rule of whatever, and then they brought in science, the application of the mind to analyze things, to create things. Mankind at that point in Europe started to concentrate on himself as the God himself on earth here. And therefore he has the right to make anything that he desires to improve upon his life. This is not in existence in Africa. And so we are still caught up in the mentality that God is doing things for us. So as I'm speaking to you, whatever challenge, there are numerous challenges, difficulties in Africa. But what we do is we pray to God. We are asking God to do that, to give us an answer to it. But so from generation to generation, we are praying, but the answer from God is not forthcoming. Why? Because we are not applying the right thing that is supposed to bring the answer to us. And that is having the firm belief that you are a God on earth here. You are a God on earth here. I repeat. And God is the creator. Therefore, you are a creator. You have to create your life. You have to create your life the way you want. And the way you do this is by looking at your circumstances, looking at your challenges, and begin to think for solutions for those problems. And as a matter of fact, we are so accustomed to the statement that the greater the challenge, the greater the accomplishment. And so if you look at Africa right now, we are facing the most difficult challenges. We are lacking a lot of things. And if the Africans will begin to address themselves as the gods on earth here, but we are no longer praying to God that is in the sky. We are no longer praying to God that is in trees and rivers, but we are addressing the God that is in us, and we are creating our own realities and begin to address our difficulties, our challenges. Regardless, we will change our lives. We will turn everything up. We will turn everything to the way that we want. You say, not upside down. You say, anyway. You see, and so this is about developing a certain mental attitude, and by discovering the true nature of you, who you are a God on earth here. Whether you are afraid to say this or not, you are a God on earth here. And God's work is creation. So every day, every moment, every minute, you are creating. Sometimes you create by default, and that's why it brings out negative results. Then you say it's the work of the devil or your fellow human being. But no, all those things, your fellow human beings and other things that comes in to bring a particular circumstance in your life are the corporate component, the actors that the universe uses to bring your final product, which is the product of your thought, you see. And so, for us to move forward, there is the need, and this is the time for every African to begin to analyze his way of life. All of us begin to analyze our way of life. What is the bedrock of our beliefs, or what is the bedrock of our lives? The bedrock of our life is that God is the one doing everything for us. And as it is in Ghana, in the Akan language, you say, Nyame beye, Erade beye. So when there is a problem, when there is an issue, that men and women are supposed to use their minds to analyze it, we gather ourselves in churches, in other places. Then we pray, we cry to God. Those things are not working. We have all evidence to show to us that they are not working. But now is the time for us to take on the right mental attitude. If you want to be like some people, you have to do what they are doing. We are not denied of any power. We are not created as inferior people. And we are not limited by anyone. But it is our own beliefs that are limiting us. And the first one, or the greatest one, that if it is dismantled, all other smaller ones will dismantle, is the fact that we are afraid to claim our divinity. We are afraid to declare in our lives that we are gods. As a matter of fact, if you have the belief that you are a god, you'll be a god. And if you have the belief that you are not a god, you will not be a god. And that is why some people are, those who believe that they are gods, they are doing what God is doing. God is bringing greater and beautiful and wonderful things, amazing things into the world through them, you say. And so what we are doing at Eagle Mentality is to conscientize, to bring this awareness to every man and woman in Africa and even the whole world. We want a better world. We want to see an improvement in our lives. But we cannot keep on holding on to old beliefs. The belief that is instigated or is developed from fear of outer forces having grips on our life. No. You are not supposed to be controlled by any outer force, but you're supposed to control your life from within yourself, or you are God. You see? And so beliefs are very important, and your beliefs that controls what you are thinking, the way you think. Ask yourself, under what influence am I always thinking? If you are thinking under the influence of the fear of the punishment from anyone, any god, anything, then you are not using your mind rightly. But if you are thinking under the influence that you are a free person, and what is in your life is cause and effect, actions and reactions, and therefore if there is any particular thing that is not going on in your life, it is your creation. Therefore, since you are the creator, you have the power and the ability and the know-how to change it. And that is to think the opposite way to change it, you say. And so we've lived a life that is devoid of development, devoid of progress. Now is the time. Now is the hour. Let us rise up. We are born, we are created and born as the images and the likenesses of God. We are the incarnates of God. We can do anything that any man or woman is doing in this world. We have the power to be and do and have anything. But this will be a possibility only when we begin to challenge our old beliefs. We begin to evaluate our old beliefs and begin to pay attention. We begin to fix attention to ourselves. The human being, the individual person, is the center of your life. You are the center of your universe. And therefore, your universe is your where you are. You can change it. You can mold it anyhow that you want it. But it will depend on the belief that you are holding. And so this is the time, my fellow Africans, my brothers and sisters, let us rise up. It is time for us to take our place in the universe. It is time for us to take our place in the universe. Africa is the future of the world, because we have the greatest challenges. We have the greatest issues. We are the least developed people. And when the counterpart of the least developed status is the highest developed status. And if we are able to create our own things as a response to our challenges, our development, our success will be equal to the challenges we are facing there. And that will become the leaders of the world. And so you are here to be part of this process. And you are here to be part of the creation process. But you must first establish the belief in yourself. Believe in yourself that you can be and do and have anything. The belief that someone had that he can take human beings into the air for them to fly in an object, it is the same belief that you must entertain. The belief that someone had that he can travel all around the world, and he did it against all fears and speculations, is that belief that you got to hold. You are not here to be paralyzed. You are not here to be limited by anything, but you are here to be dominate. You are not here to be dominated, but you are here to dominate. It is time for you to rise up, and let us team up by developing a new perspective, a new belief, a new way of things. And by so doing, Africa and the world will move to the next stage in human advancement. Thank you.